Are there riches in niches? I'm going to show you a couple examples right now. Hey, it's Don Skaggs with Empowered Inventing TV, where we try to help you help other people by taking your great innovation, the right opportunity, mixing that with sound wisdom so you can turn them into real things like products and businesses. Now, today I want to talk to you about one of our own, Bill Elam. Bill Elam he has been a member, has been involved with the Inventors Network Kentucky, our group here in Kentucky, for as long as I've been involved with it. Let me put it that way. He's a prolific inventor, and over the years, watching Bill and watching his successes, Bill had quite a few. He was a prolific inventor. Had a lot of ideas. Some of them he went just great with, did fantastic. Some didn't develop, but I got to hear about. I still want to see them turn into real things today. I'm thinking of one right now. But I want to talk to you about some of the things he did, but more importantly, some of the lessons that I learned from Bill over the years of watching him become successful with not just one idea, but multiple ideas. Now, let me tell you a couple of quotes that I've heard from him. By the way, Bill spends a lot of time in Florida now. Bill, if you're watching this, hey, thank you so much for relaying all this great information over the years to me, whether you knew you were doing it or not. If you're in Florida, Bill used to say, he spends a lot of time in Florida wiggling his toes in the sand. It's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Well, Bill, I hope you're enjoying that tough job that you're doing in Florida. So anyway, Bill had some great lessons. He had some great quotes. One of them was in-source creativity and outsource productivity. Now, this is a great lesson. Bill never built or made or manufactured a thing, but he was in business. He was an entrepreneur, and he actually sold products to customers. He didn't license, nothing wrong with licensing, but he had the products made, sold them, and just made a business out of it. It kind of reminds me of one of the best business arrangements I had one time. Was I had a company in Arizona that was wanting a specific kind of product, and they were having something done to it in I think it was Maryland, and so I would find a company in Alabama that could make these things, and Arizona would send me a purchase order. I would send a PO to Alabama. Alabama would ship it to Maryland. Maryland would do whatever they're going to do with it and ship it to Arizona. And we all just traded POs and checks. I never touched the product. It was one of the best deals ever did. I was sad to see it end. Sometimes things like that, they have a life cycle and they end. But still, it was a really, really great run. And this is what Bill did. Bill did this a lot. He had a company called Prints for Professionals. I'm going to tell you a little bit more about that in a minute. And a more recent one called Forever Aging. Now, in-source creativity, outsource productivity is a great lesson because he successfully was selling products while outsourcing the work. Now, what do I mean by outsourcing? Well, he knew how to manage the work. I'm not talking about that outsourcing, that blind throw the keys approach, where you're like, let me just throw you a bunch of money and here's a vague description of what I want done, and you just expect them to make you rich, and it doesn't happen. No. That's not what I'm talking about, and that's not what Bill did. Bill always inspected what he expected. He did not throw the keys. So he knew how to manage this, not management by abdication is another way to say you're blindly throwing the keys. You are actually working with these people and communicating well with them, and he knew how to communicate well with customers and with these outsourced workers, outsourced partners, outsourced collaborators, whatever you want to call it. Where you're one company, it's another company. You're not partnering like your equity partners. You are partnering, saying you're going to do this for me. This is how I want it done. This is how I need it to work. And then you watch to make sure it's being done right. And if it's not, you say, okay, this isn't correct. Let's fix it. But then you finally get it going, and they're doing you a good job. You're doing them a good job. Everybody wins. This is the great collaboration of working with customers and working with outsourced workers. But he also knew how to communicate with customers. And Bill was the master of the Frankentype. He knew how to build these things just enough, put them together, to where he could get the idea across and then outsource it so other people could do it, and it could scale, and he could have a lot of them made. And some of them were just very, very unique business ideas. You know, some people might say some of the things Bill did, you call it more of a business, more of an entrepreneur venture, and not really being an inventor. But I consider Bill as much of an inventor as the guy in his garage working on a gadget. Now, let me tell you one of the things that Bill did. Bill would actually, he had a company called Prints for Professionals. And in that company, Prints for Professionals, he would he would find these industries like the funeral home industry or the chiropractor professional industry, or some other doctor profession, some of these high-level professions, and he would commission, here again, this is where he was working with an outsourced party. He would commission an artist to take tools of the trade, things that would resonate. Sometimes it was antiquated things, like maybe an old microscope for someone in a certain medical profession, or just things that they would have used or nostalgically used in that profession. And he would have this artist make this beautiful arrangement and take a picture of that, and then he would have posters made of that, and then he would sell them to the organizations, the professional organizations, who would then either sell them or distribute them to their members. It was a great business for him. And it really worked. Again, all he had was the idea. He insourced the creativity and he outsourced the productivity. And again, to me, that's as much as an invention as anybody coming up with any gadget anywhere. And there's nothing wrong with gadgets. I love gadgets. I love products like that you can build and sell. But Bill was just as much an inventor as anybody else. He was taking an idea and he was turning it into something real. So he would build these good relationships with customers, and he would a lot of times he would do the marketing work himself, and then he would again relay it to the people that he was outsourcing to do the marketing for him. So another thing that Bill would say is that there are riches in niches. I love this saying, and it's so true. I've done this myself, so I know it works. And of course, I watched Bill do it, and other people as well. Bill would find a niche industry, one that was not overcrowded, not sometimes a very overlooked marketplace, and they're out there. They're all over the place. The story of the Prints for Professional is perfect. I mean, I was in a doctor's office one time and I saw one of his posters on the wall. This was before I ever knew it was his, and it impressed me. So I mean, it was a great niche. Not a lot of people in there. You're not competing with Jeff Bezos or Apple or anybody else on something. No, No, you're finding an industry that a lot of people maybe have just overlooked. Not overcrowded, many times overlooked. So you know, there's what I call $5 million opportunities out there, and here's the thing about the $5 million opportunity. Whether it's Prints for Professionals, whether it's Forever Aging, which is his other product, which was more recent, was kind of interesting. It's an odd subject, an odd product, an odd market. So he would find these little mini bourbon barrels, and he would he'd have them printed or burned in or whatever print. I mean, nice wooden barrels, and there would be a they would put your, I guess, your favorite, just a little bit of your favorite adult beverage, I think is what he would call it, alcohol, in there if somebody was into bourbon, if somebody was, and I don't know much about alcohol, so you know, I know the name bourbon and I know the name vodka, so that's about as far as I get it. I'm just a nerd. I like other things, so but. You would put a little bit of that, of your favorite whiskey or whatever, in the barrel. And then it was an urn. You put your ashes in there. Your ashes would, I guess, kind of mix with that. And it was just kind of a thing. And it actually took off. It's actually become something. And I just think that's so interesting. So if you're cremated and your remains are put in this little barrel, and you are forever aging. That was where you got the name. So anyway, it was a niche. It was a niche industry, one that was overlooked. You know, the urn business is you know, just one you don't really think of. In one of my old businesses, we sold to a niche market of the clinical laboratory. It was kind of what I would call the redheaded stepchild of the clinical lab. It was called histology, pathology. And it was part of the lab that was overlooked by a lot of the big players. And the smaller players could get in there, and we were one of those. So look for your $5 million opportunity. It worked out great for him. And because these $5 million, and here's the thing about why I call it $5 million opportunity. If there's a market out there and it's $5 million market, you can make $5 million a year. Now that's a lot for you. It's a lot for me. But for a big corporation, that's a rounding error. They don't care about those markets. So these niche industries are everywhere like this. And this is where most people aren't looking. Big companies are overlooking them, and that is where people like you and me, inventors and entrepreneurs, can find real, true opportunities. So what underserved market can you find? What market? Be looking. Look for those that are overlooked. Look for those niche markets. Now, if you're looking for more information on this sort of topic, you want to check out our Empowered Inventing Academy course, Idea to Income. It really kind of shows you how to get started and gives you a good overview and a good game plan of getting started with your idea. And that's at empoweredinventing.com. I'm Don Skaggs. This is Empowered Inventing TV. Like, subscribe, help us to build our tribe. And I will look to see you at the next meeting, workshop, maybe one of our online courses, or on the next video.